Welcome to the Well Woman Show, where we interview women executives, leaders, and entrepreneurs.
And you're listening to the Well Woman Show,
where motivated women achieve fulfillment and well-being.
You're listening to the Well Woman Show.
Take time for myself by coming to things like Well Woman Drinks.
To be accepting of myself no matter what. Step away from judgment as much as possible.
You're listening to the Well Woman Show.
You're going to be in for a good ride. I don't regret anything. Everything I've ever done, I've learned from it, one way or another, good or bad.
Being a little bit selfish for yourself, put your own oxygen mask on first and then give what's left.
I'm a woman. I would prefer to tell my own story. My story, though it's very personal, is universal.
You're listening to the Well Woman Show. And now your host, Giovanna Rossi.
Hi, Giovanna Rossi here, and welcome to another episode of the Well Woman Show, where I interview women leaders, executives, and entrepreneurs about their lives and their road to becoming and being who they are today. Are you feeling burned out or finding it hard to focus on your goals? Or are you in transition? Well, you're not alone. We all need to activate our superpowers. These are the internal strengths and abilities we all already have but don't use all the time. Superpowers can be cultivated, and they include empathy, love, intuition, courage, and more. As always, this episode is brought to you by Well Woman Life, a global community of women living our best lives. Whether it's your health, relationships, your money, or making an impact in your community and the world, Well Woman Life has you covered. You've made a commitment to not settle, to use your voice, and to live your best life. Well Woman Life offers annual memberships, workshops, and retreats to support you. Check out wellwomanlife.com/Facebook to join our growing community. Now back to the show. So, as Lucy said, I'm Giovanna Rossi, founder of Well Woman Life and host and producer of the Well Woman Show, which is a podcast. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what we do, and you just experienced the little facilitation of introductions, which people at first find horrifying, and then once we get going, it's like, oh, okay, I can do this. This isn't too bad. And at the end, hopefully, we'll have a couple of minutes for you to find someone that you haven't talked to that maybe piqued your interest during the introductions, and go and talk to them because you either share, a connection, a story, an interest, or whatever. So. Over the years, right, we have been valued as women in more or less two different ways. The first way is how we look, right? That's sort of like historically how women are valued, how we look. And you can see that's the cover of the magazine there. The other way that we're generally valued as women is in how we nurture others or how we can take care of others. So those are the two main ways that we as women are valued. As you could hear during the introductions, we have a lot more going on than that, right? So we not only care about how we look and about caring for others, which we do, so that's definitely part of it, but we have so much more going on. And we've been told that this is the ideal woman. Right? How many of you have just sort of grown up with these magazines on the stands, and you sort of try to live up to this ideal woman image? And then there's sort of the perfect woman, and this is like a 1950s American housewife, juggling everything perfectly. And then, of course, here, juggling, cooking, and she's talking on the phone and everything. And really what Well Woman Life does, and what I do through my podcast, is talk about real women. And that's those of you here in the room having just shared a little bit about yourselves and what your superpowers are. It's very interesting that a lot of you, the superpowers you mentioned, some of them had to do with your value in terms of nurturing or taking care of others. But that wasn't the whole story, right? A lot of you, your superpowers are motivating other people, listening to other people, organizing, persuading other people. We obviously have a lot more going on, and we need to support each other in that. And so this is a picture of some of our members at a retreat in New Mexico. And so Well Woman Life really supports a global community of women who are executives, business owners, and just leaders in general. We have some elected officials. We don't take a political stand, but we support you if you want to run for office. We have a lot of people wanting to run for office right now in the States. I'll just leave it at that. And a lot of women are getting into politics because we're, realizing that we're really good at organizing and at persuading and motivating. And so that's another area of leadership that we really support. But we definitely have a lot of business owners and then a lot of people in the corporate world too. So we often talk about real life, right? So in the introductions, we talked about who we identify as, who are we in the world. And it's really an opportunity with Well Woman Life and with the community that we create to sort of let go of that ideal and that perfection that we're told that we should be striving for, and really just say, this is real life. And, if the dishes aren't done, whatever, the world is not going to end, right? Like, we don't have to be perfect at everything all the time. I often talk about work-life balance, and it's really not a balance, is it? It's a juggle. So, like, when one ball is up in the air, you're maybe holding another one, maybe not, maybe they're on the floor. It's a total juggle. So, Lucy was talking about hashtags earlier, and she named a few hashtags. One that I absolutely love is make it happen, and also if not now, when. I don't know if that's a really good hashtag, but I like to say it because really, if not now, when? When are you going to do the thing that you've been dreaming about doing? When are you going to do the business that you know in your gut is in you, that you just need to birth it? It's like having a baby, right? It's like birthing the business. Lucy's been going through that lately with making the goddess formula happen. And really there's no time like right now to get started and just to take action. So, what can you do today, tomorrow, this week, this month to put in place things that you need in order to make your dream for your life come true? And it's your dream. It's not what you think other people think you should be doing. That's a big rabbit hole that we go down. And sometimes we stay down it for years, right? And then we come out and we're like, oh, hold on, that wasn't what I really wanted for my life. That was what everybody else wanted for my life. So we can relate to that probably. So it's definitely hard. And I know, having just heard all of you speak, that you've all been through major struggle and major challenges and you've overcome it. And it is hard. But again, if you don't start now, when are you going to start? And it is really difficult, but it's not impossible. And with the support of each other, really, we can pretty much do anything. And so, just a little bit about my Well Woman Life. We always talk about this Well Woman Life in terms of where we want to be in our personal life, in our professional life, and in our public life. And in public life, I'm talking about if you sit on boards, sit on boards of organizations, charities, if you serve the public in any way, if you have a prominent role in the public life, maybe you're running for office, that kind of thing. So we really look at three areas: your personal, that's your health, your financial, your relationships; your professional, right, your career, your education, your business, and then the public piece. And sometimes people are not focused on the public piece yet, or sometimes they sort of dip in and out of it. And so for me, about 14 years ago, I had a sort of an awakening. And, I was really struggling. I had built a career that I was pretty much a workaholic in. I didn't have a relationship that I liked. I was smoking. You saw the cigarette earlier. Nothing against smokers, because I know you have a lot of them here in Europe. A lot of smokers in Europe. No. But there were just things going on in my life that I wasn't, it wasn't fulfilling. I wasn't happy. And I thought, what am I doing? I was about to get married to the wrong person. And so just all of this kind of came to a head, and I changed things drastically, called off the engagement, which was really scary, and started transitioning from my job and got just on a whole new path, quit smoking, got healthy, like just made a huge, huge change. So I know what it takes to change something big in your life, whether it's your health, your relationship, your job, and so I share that with people through this community and through the podcast, through the women that I interview. And I want to interview you, by the way, Lucy. When you get things going, we'll chat. And so about 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago, I quit my job. I had a high-profile political job with our governor in our state. He had run for president, and he was termed out of office, so I needed to figure out where I was going to go. And so I quit my job and started my own consulting business. My background is in public policy, actually, and facilitation and strategic planning. And so I started my business and met my husband and just was on this whole new trajectory for my life. But it, like I said, it took a lot of hard work, and it takes commitment, right? Commitment and also a supportive community. I couldn't have done it without my supportive community. And so while I was going through that, I discovered that I really needed that support from other women, and I didn't know, it didn't really exist anywhere. And as I was interviewing people, I had a radio show, as I was interviewing people, women would say, can we have these kinds of conversations in person, like over drinks? Can we get together and have a cocktail and talk about this stuff instead of just talking about it on the radio? And so that sort of inspired me to start this Well Woman Drinks, which is sort of what we're doing here, in conjunction with the Goddess Formula. And it grew into this thing that it was bigger than me, It's like, I know I needed it personally and for myself, but then I realized that other women really needed it too. And so it grew into this sort of global community now, which there's information actually on the tables, and we do monthly events online, so you can join us online for different topics, and we do deep dives into different areas. If you're really trying to make a change in your personal life or your professional life, it's a great resource for that. And we do an annual retreat, which is in New Mexico. It's a fabulous place to be. It's very healing. It's very spiritual. So if you're in that place where you're like, I need to really focus on myself and like get some shit done, it's a great place to do that. And it's in October. And so talk to me afterwards, and I can tell you about it. And I talk about what a well woman is, and we're motivated, personally accountable, and innovative and non-judgmental. And the non-judgmental piece is super important. I don't know if I'm standing in the way. But how many of you definitely judge yourselves? I mean, we all do it, right? That negative, like, oh God, that negative self-talk, judging yourself all the time. But we also judge other people all the time. It's really, really hard not to do it. But we've consciously built into our program a way for us to help each other not do that to each other. And it's amazing when you can actually get through a scenario with someone or through the day and really honestly say, I wasn't judging, because we do it all the time. Can you relate to that? Judging. It can really bring you down. So I already talked about who we are. I just go briefly over the elements of a well woman life. And so we have these three sort of foundations, which is our health and fitness, our finances and organization, and our personal development. And without those three foundational pieces, we can't really do all of the awesome, fabulous things that we want to do in our lives, which are the colored blocks at the top. We can't really thrive in our profession or build our business. Our family and friends and home life isn't where we want it to be, or our community life isn't where we want it to be. So really focusing on those building blocks is what we do with Well Woman Life. So we talked about our superpowers already, and I'll just leave you with this very briefly. When you look at the intersection of your internal superpower, so think about the internal superpower that you, or the superpower that you talked about, and think about where that intersects with external supports. So how strong are you with your superpowers right now? And then think about external support. So how much support do you have from your husband, your partner, your family, your boss? External supports can be even, policies that either support women in the workplace or hold them back. So it can be a variety of things. But generally, if you think about where those two things intersect, you'll find that, and this is a whole longer talk that I give about the superpowers, but you'll find that you fall into one of the four quadrants. And there's a quadrant that's definitely burnout, just you're going, and you don't have enough of your internal superpower, and your external superpower is like going crazy, or external supports rather. So you're in burnout, and burnout is really, really tough because that's where we make bad decisions, right? Is anybody going through burnout right now?
Oh, I know. I haven't even been there.
Yeah. Another big phase is transition. So big quadrant here is transition. But we go into this a lot more in our programs. So really quickly, I want to share with you 4 things that really can get you started living the life that you want, or what I call a well woman life. And the first one is to start saying no. And I know that's really hard. As women, we sort of say yes to everything, even though we're thinking in our head, oh God, no, I don't want to do that. And you say, oh yeah, sure. And you think, why did I just say that? So setting some boundaries in your life, in your personal life and your professional life, and feeling okay about it, and like saying, this is okay. I can say no in this situation, and I'm going to do it. Really, really important. The second one is, and this is an interesting one for talking about in the UK, because I know you use the word sorry a lot. But in general, as women, we do use apologetic language way too much. We're always apologizing. So, when we start apologizing for something that we actually don't have any control over, we really have to pull that back and start reframing our language, because the way we talk really impacts our behavior. And when you have apologetic language, you start behaving apologetically, and what does that do? Completely takes your power away. So if you want to stand in your power and really hold your power and be a powerful woman, we have to stop apologizing and stop using that language. The third one is, shocking, to be selfish. And this is really to reclaim the word selfish. So it's about really looking at your life and doing things for yourself and not always putting other people first. We do that a lot as women, and we have to in a lot of cases, but we don't always have to. And we do need to start putting ourselves first. Our need to spend 2 hours on Sunday morning on our business is really important. If I don't do it, I'm not going to, meet my goals. And doesn't mean I'm a bad mother or whatever. You can balance these things or juggle them. And then the fourth and final one is self-care. So I know we hear a lot about self-care these days in the media and online, but this is really a big deal for women, especially business women, high-achieving women, those of us running a business and a family, really taking time for your self-care. So I tell people to write it in your calendar, because if it's not scheduled, it doesn't happen, right? So really finding that time that you're going to do, whether it's doing your yoga class or going for a run or just going to the farmer's market. I don't know what do you do here? We go to a farmer's market. And just browse the vegetables. If that helps relax you and if that's something that, schedule it in and do it. And literally write it in your calendar to make it happen. So these are just 4 quick things that I share with you. You may already be doing some of them. You may have started doing some of them and stopped and need a refresher, a reminder. But these are 4 really easy things that you can start doing right away that you can, you'll notice a difference in your life, almost immediately, really, if you do these 4 things. So, I think I'm almost out of time, but I wanted to show you how you can get involved with Well Woman Life. You can definitely follow us at Well Woman Life on Instagram, and you can and Twitter and everywhere, Facebook. And then we also do Well Woman drinks, and then a retreat that I talked to you about. It's in October in New Mexico. Lucy actually is a member of Well Woman Life now, yay. And so if anybody else is interested in joining, please come and talk to me. I think we will have some time afterward to mingle a little bit more, and definitely come and we'll talk about it. So thank you. That's it for our show today. Remember, if you need support to live your Well Woman life, head over to wellwomanlife.com/Facebook to join us. Our monthly live event, Well Woman Drinks, brings women together to share our successes and challenges as women, leaders, moms, aunts, sisters, and all the other roles we carry. If you'd like to attend a Well Woman Drinks near you, or if there isn't one in your city yet and you'd like to start one, email info@wellwomanlife.com. If you enjoyed the show, please take a moment and subscribe in iTunes and leave a review. This helps raise visibility, which is super helpful when it comes to producing the show every week. For feedback, comments, or just to let me know you were listening today, find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Well Woman Life. I'm Giovanna Rossi for The Well Woman Show. Until next time, have a super powerful week.